Welcome to the shack. I'm Rick. If this is your first time stopping by, thank you so much for checking us out. Please feel free to browse around, check out other videos. There might be something of interest. I do a little bit of a variety, but I am gearing more towards projects in the shop here. But I do home repair, home improvements, tool reviews, and projects. Today we have a tool review. This is my 5616-24 Plunge Base Fixed Base Router Kit by Milwaukee. I'm going to go through fixed base and then go through the plunge base, and as I go through I'm going to point out a few specifics why I chose Milwaukee versus DeWalt or Bosch. I was checking out all of them, narrowed it down to Bosch, Milwaukee, and DeWalt, going through them again and again and again, and often as I could possibly do, go to the store, kind of check it out, look at it, looking at all the reviews, and I kept leaning more and more towards Milwaukee, and I'm going to tell you why. So I'm going to show you everything that comes with it, make a few comments, then we're going to get into the review. This is everything that is included in the kit. You have your wrench, you have 1/4 inch collet is installed from the factory. You also have an additional 1/2 inch collet. Comes with dust collection attachment, which the others did not. That was an added expense. And comes with 2 wrenches, and that is a comment some people made. And I do agree, I need 2 more wrenches like I need a hole in the head. But this router is a no thrills, no bling, heavy duty router that will hopefully give you years of performance. It is what you need in a router without the extras. Very nice router all the way around. I wish they would have maybe had a lock pin in one wrench, or even better yet, completely toolless to be able to change out the collet or the bits with no tools at all. That would have been nice. Also comes with a centering tool, which when it came to making this, which is another review coming out, and when it does, it will be boop up there. Until then it's just nothing there. But I am going to actually demonstrate this router in the plunge base doing this sign. This was a necessity to have. In order to use the plunge base to do stuff like this, you have to have a guide bushing that mounts in the bottom of the base. If that guide bushing isn't dead center to the motor, when you plunge down, that bit's going to hit the guide bushing, destroying it, destroying the bit, screwing everything up. This was very essential to have to center that prior to doing this. So this will actually be demonstrated also when the video comes out of me making that sign. This is just something I did just to try this out. Very quick demo. It will also be a review of the letter template guide that I bought along with this being demonstrated doing it. So it's like a kill 2 birds with 1 stone type of thing. So look forward for that. Then that is another video coming out. I almost forgot to mention, it also comes with your owner's manual. You know me, I am an advocate for the owner's manual. I strongly urge you always, no matter the tool, no matter how smart you think you are, how well you know the tool, it is for your benefit. Most importantly, it's for your safety. Read through this, make sure you know all the ins and outs, little adjustments, and most importantly, the safety aspects of using the tool. Don't want to lose fingers, lose eyes, and you don't want to damage it, but most importantly, you don't want to injure yourself. Read through the manual, just glance over it. When I took this all out, was checking out, I sat down and I went through all this just to make sure. Safety first always. Plus, a little shack tip. On this model, right over here, is the serial number. I transferred the serial number onto my owner's manual. I have a file cabinet in the shop. I put all the owner manuals for my tools in. If anything was to happen and this gets rubbed off and I no longer can read the serial number, I have it here on my manual for warranty purposes or any other reason I may need it. So shack tip, transfer the number onto the owner's manual, put it in the file cabinet aside, don't lose it. Now, the review. You'll notice right off it's got this big black rubber thing right here. This is the BodyGrip. Molded rubber, conforms to the fixed body. This is a very, very comfortable grip on your router motor. Traditionally, people say you have to route with your palm knobs like this, grab on side and you route. I happen to like my hand gripping the motor when I'm doing a project. It's kind of a habit of mine from using a trim router a lot. When I have the router gripped in my hand, it feels more secure. I have better control, and when it comes to the edges, sometimes it'll bobble like this. I feel I have better stability with the motor grabbing it this way. This is my preference. For instance, if I'm doing a project, I'm routing the edge. I have my hand on the body grip, one hand on the palm grip. I'm routing the edge. When I get to the corner, instead of having your hand like this and try to go around a corner and possibly bobble it and jack up your edge, my hand on here, I will get to the edge, kind of stop, keeping it on the project surface, taking my other hand on the palm knob here, on the palm handle, and just guiding it around the corner and then continue. So I'm basically coming down to the edge, I get to the corner, I stop, hold it there, keep it very stable and secure on the edge right there, guide it with my other hand around the corner of that project and then continue. Like this much better. The other brands did not have this. This was another plus in my book why I chose the Milwaukee. 13 amp motor. The others were 12 amp motors. 13 amp EVS, electronic variable speed. You have your speed selector knob right here from 1 to 7. 1 10,000 RPM, 7 24,000 RPM. On the side here you see a little scale 1 through 7, and in between it'll tell you the RPMs of each setting. On and off switch, and that is something else. When my hand is in the palm grip, I'm ready to do my project. I literally just rotate my thumb up, click on. When I'm done, I can keep the router there, rotate my thumb up, click it off. The convenience of where this is located, I like a lot. Now the adjustment on the Milwaukee is another issue, and why I chose this versus the other brand. This adjusting knob, there's a rod runs through here. When you adjust this, it raises and lowers the motor. This markings on the knob here are marked in 1/64 of an inch. There is a arrow on the one side here, and you can adjust it accordingly. This is their micro fine linear depth adjustment, the LDA. This is for precision depth setting. DeWalt had an adjustment ring. In my past with routers that had an adjustable ring, the vibration of the motor sometimes would cause that ring to move, and that means the motor just dropped down. I have had instances where that's happened. Because of that, I stay completely away from anything with adjustment ring. This is your steel lock lever. You release that. You have to release this to adjust the motor. Now, I can move this motor up and down. This is the motor release button. Now, since I've had this for about 3 weeks and I have used it a few times, I have gotten into the habit when I want to take the motor out, I will take my hands, you know that sign, I will split, yeah, I won't go there. I will split my fingers over the power cord like this, grip onto the motor. I got my hand, I got gripped over the motor. And I will lift up a little, kind of relieving some of the pressure, push that in, comes right out. But you don't want this just to have the free fall, drum down and hit. So always get into a habit of grabbing it, taking a little bit of pressure off, lifting up, and it comes out that easy. Another side note, not so much the DeWalt, but the Bosch. I've noticed a couple of guys, when this was in the base, they would get it up to the top, but it wouldn't just come out. they actually had to, I think there's like a little lock or something in there. I don't know what you really call it. But I seen them, they took it out, then they had to turn it a little bit, and then it would release. And even though they've had it for a while, when they got it to that point, they had to shake it a little bit, get it to turn, and then come out. Also, in order to put this into the plunge base, if this was DeWalt, you'd have to sit there and spin that ring all the way off before you placed it into the plunge base, or some guys would spin it up all the way to the top. But I started thinking, if this goes into your plunge base with that ring, all of a sudden you got that, however wide it is, inch wide, 3/4 inch wide, whatever it is that ring is, you just lost that plunge depth, because now this is sitting higher in the plunge base. So you may go all the way down, but you're losing 3/4 inch of your plunge. May not be an issue, but it's something I considered. Versus if I'm ready to change this out, push it in, pull it out, drop it right into the plunge base. That easy, that simple. That's why, again, another reason why I chose this versus the other two. Now the dust collection, you have this little cutout. That's where this sets into. The metal bar fits right where you would set an edge guide. So if you want to use dust collection, you cannot use edge guide. And that I wondered about. But since I don't use edge guide too often, I mean like rarely, wasn't an issue, but it is something to consider. The plunge base. There's one thing about this why I chose this again versus Bosch. The hand grips. The Bosch felt cheap and they flexed a little. I didn't like that. I want it to be secure, to be solid, so I have a feel of consistency and a feel of control. Some people complain about the plunge resistance. Either they're too tight, it just didn't fit right, it was too much pressure, had pushed down. The plunge release lock lever. Now without the motor in there, you kind of have to force it down. There's a little bit of resistance. But once you insert the motor, the weight actually counterbalances it and it feels absolutely amazing. You have the little hole here. That's where you set the adjusting rod into. You guide it through there. Remember, get your grip on it so you don't drop it. I have a habit of putting my other hand underneath and just holding it, kind of guiding that in there. Make sure you have this unlocked. See, see my hand's off, and that's holding it in there so it doesn't drop. Guide that in there. Make sure it goes right through the hole right there. And this you drop all the way down. If this was DeWalt and you had the guide ring in, you're setting up about 3/4 inch higher. So you're losing that much of your plunge depth. You want full capacity, full range, you can't have the ring on there. Lock it in. Now you're ready to work. This glides up and down. That motor perfectly counterbalances the plunge base, and it literally glides like so. I don't feel no resistance. This thing is nice. It's perfect. Just minimal pressure on it, it drops down. I don't see any problem with it. I don't know what they're complaining about. That works perfectly for me. Now the adjustment system on the plunge base I liked better, again, versus Bosch or DeWalt. There are multiple ways of, truly fine-tuning your work with this. You have your stop rod right here. In order to adjust the stop rod, you have to release your stop rod lock knob right there. Push the red button in. Now you can adjust this up and down. Once you have that set where you want, you lock it. You can also use the fine adjustment here or here. You can set this adjust, you can set it at a measurement on here. Again, if you need to adjust this, you have to release this. Remember, if this is in the fixed base, you move this, the motor moves up and down. In the plunge base, it's the stop rod that moves up and down. So these are 1/64 inch increments. If you just want to bump it 1/64 inch, you're good. Otherwise, you can set this, look on the guide there, look at the pointer, and just do very minimal adjustment to get, truly fine tune your cut. You also have the turret system. If you're going to do a daddle, you have your plunge depth set, say that's it. This is all locked in. You drop it down, you do your cut. You come back up. You want to go 1/8 of an inch more deeper. You simply step it down 1 notch, 1/8 of an inch, drop it down, you're 1/8 of an inch deeper, and do your second cut. This turret is in 1/8 of an inch increment steps up and down, 0 all the way up to 5/8 of an inch. I almost forgot to mention the soft start in this motor. I'm going to demonstrate that real quick. I'm going to show you. You can literally, and I don't advise you do this, but I'm going to demonstrate and show you how nice this soft start is on these new routers. So I'm going to kick it on and you're going to see. Smooth. I mean smooth. No jerking, no torque kicking in or nothing. Very smooth. And that was on 3. So I'm going to do it again, and it's on 7, so it's 24,000 RPM the top. And you saw, or you heard, as I went up from 3 to 7, the RPM is picking up. So now it's top 24,000 RPM. I'm going to do it again. I'm not even going to touch it. I'm going to let you see how smooth this start is. It also has a motor feedback, meaning it's going to keep the same RPM when it's first turned on as it is during the cut. It has constant feedback, so if it's sensing a load, it's going to add a little more power and keep that RPM at the same level throughout your work. That's the overview. Highly impressed with this. Those are the reasons why I chose this versus the other two. My preference. So any more information you need, any of the specs, it will be in the description below. And please, I always enjoy the comments, but a couple of rules, and I cannot stress it enough. No vulgarity. You don't come here and start swearing and just go, shooting off at the mouth. That's not going to happen. I'm not going to deal with negative people like that. Also, if you make a comment and there is a link into it, that's not going to happen either. That is automatic deletion. Regardless of how intelligent or how informative your comment is, you have a link in there, you're gone. Please, no links. As far as I'm concerned, you're trying to run traffic somewhere because you're going to get a kickback or you're getting paid for it. This is not a sponsored channel. All this stuff comes out of my wallet. Every tool that I have reviewed since the day I started this channel comes out of my pocket. It is just me, but I want you to be informed if you're looking into something like this. Also, if you're not maybe wanting this big of a router, maybe you're better off with a 1 1/4 horse, smaller router, start out, get the feel. I may surprise you, but in that case, I would suggest starting off with the DeWalt. I think that is a very good entry level. Even the beginner, I think that's a better start than going something cheap. 150 bucks for the kit. You can check them out, go other places. It might get a little bit cheaper, but I think that's about the average cost. Without spending an extra 100 plus on something like this, that is a viable entry level router kit. Okay, like I said, I am not brand specific. I think that is a good entry level. Again, thank you so much for viewing. Be blessed. Get out there, take back your shack. Clean a spot, take some time, build it for a friend. Always build it for family, but most importantly, build it for your sanity. That's it. See you next video.